Welcome to my Permadeath series for No Man's Sky Beyond, and the focus of this video is going to be the new Sybthesis update, which was released on the 28th of November 2019 if you're watching this in the future. And Hello Games have returned to what they used to do back in 2016. They kept very quiet about what they were doing and then suddenly just dropped an update, and it's a very substantial update on the community with no prior warning. And I have to admit, when it first appeared in the experimental branch, I did consider loading the experimental branch to look at it, and I thought, well, I'll just give it a couple of days to settle in. And then suddenly it is in the stable branch, and this is what we are in now. This update is a very substantial update. I think Zane has done a pretty good breakdown on what or some of the detail within it. So if you're interested in seeing some more of the detail, feel free to go to his channel. I've also included a link in the video description for any of you who want to see all the patch notes. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm just going to go over what I see as some of the more interesting points of this update, and some of these are very significant in the sense that they will fundamentally change the way we play this game. And I'm going to start with what I believe is probably the most significant part of this update, and that is the ability to upgrade ships and scrap them. So that's the reason why I'm currently in the space station with my shuttle, which I bought a long time ago, and it's been sat in the freighter doing nothing. And when it came down to choosing which one of these ships to which I'm going to demonstrate the scrapping process with, I'm afraid this ship came up short. So here we are. This is the ship here. Now, before we go up and I show you the ship upgrade terminal, I just want to go over to this ship here. Oops, no, we need to wait for the pilot. Where's the pilot? There he is. I'm getting ahead of myself. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you to make an offer for the life form ship, negotiate the price. And what you will see here is the trading price for this ship is 1,475,000, and that is quite significant, because if I now go up to here, and the ship upgrade terminal, whatever you want to call it, is right here next to the I can't remember what this is called, the appearance modifier. You can see it's actually, when you come in here, you get an image of the ship that you've arrived in. Now, when I first did this, I was a little bit nervous because I was wondering what happens when that ship is actually scrapped. But before that, let's just go through what you can do with this terminal. So we're just going to come in here. You can see drones deployed to target ship, starship, Halligan, redemption, upgrade class, storage, or melt ship. And there's an interesting term for scrap, is to melt it. Now, the first entry on this right hand side just gives you an overview of the process, so you can look at it as a kind of tutorial. Now, you've got two options. You can upgrade the starship or claim the scrap version. What we're going to do is just going to show you the upgrade path. There it says augment inventory storage and improve starship class, improve storage to free with storage augmentation units. The way it works is augmentation units are special units that you can, I'm not sure if you can buy them, but you certainly get them from scrapping ships. Now, moving down, you can see purchase storage, and you can see to just do one upgrade, either it's technology or general, costs 11 million credits. And bear in mind how small this ship is. So you could, I think I watched a video a few hours ago, and someone was upgrading a ship that was very close to 48 slots, and they were paying in excess of 100 million credits to do the upgrades. And I think that's something you need to bear in mind with upgrading these ships. This is not something to be done lightly, and I'm just going to leave that just because I don't want to spend the money accidentally. So that actually emphasizes the value of these storage augmentation units. So in some ways, if you're going to upgrade the storage, it might be better to buy cheaper ships and get the augmentation than trying to save the money to actually do the upgrades. And the other thing that was pointed out was that they seem to be able to increase every class of ship to 48 slots. Now, I'm not convinced that that's such a good idea. I think I would like to have kept the original ship classes. But of course, one of the big fringe benefits of that is the fact that now exotic ships are going to come into their own, because if you can really upgrade an exotic ship, and bear in mind you can do the technology slots as well, so that means there's more incentive to actually use your exotic ships in the normal process of the game. Now the next one down, upgrade class, it says 50,000 nanites. Now bear in mind this is an A class ship, so it would be going to an S class, and to do that it's going to cost 50,000 nanites. I did do the ship I tested on was a C class going to a B class, and that actually only cost 10,000 nanites. So I'm assuming that in between that will be in other values to lift up the ship classes. So we're just going to come there. Of course, because I left, we're going to have to come back in again. And what we're going to do now is we're actually going to scrap the ship. And you can see here, claim scrap worth, and the value that it's actually quoting is the value of the ship if you were going to sell it. So we're just going to come in here. And it says, warning, the Starship Helen redemption and all cargo will be destroyed. Confirm salvage decision. Now, a couple of tips before you get to this point. First one, empty the ship's inventory so that you've got a completely empty ship. Destroy any text that you can destroy and recover those before you come here. And thirdly, before you do this, make sure that you've got plenty of room in your exosuit inventory, because you do get a lot of items from this. And if you well, what will happen is if you click this and there's not enough space, it will tell you that your inventory is full. A very familiar tune that we've heard many times before. And we're just going to scrap it. It says salvage drones deploying Starship Halogen redemption and will be immediately processed for scrap. and you can see all the stuff coming through. And straight away now you will see that the ship that's in this terminal has changed, because what the game has actually done is it's actually summoned, I think, the laughing gnome back. So it's almost like it summons a random ship from your freighter to replace the one that you've deconstructed. So you won't get stranded up on the space station, thank goodness. But I'm assuming that there's a minimum criteria that you will not be able to scrap your last ship and effectively leave you with nothing. Not that you'd probably do it, but never mind. So if we go into the inventory now, you will see that there's a whole load of items in here. And you can see we've actually picked up 2 augmentations here, which is pretty good. When I did the other ship, I only got 1. We got a couple of tech upgrades, and these icons have actually changed. So I don't think these are special upgrades. They're just upgrades based on what there was before. So we got a Starship shield module and a hyperdrive module. Now what you actually get is a whole series of items. Now what I want to do before we talk a bit more about this, I want to draw your attention up here, and what I should have done is showed you this total before I actually destroyed the ship. You can see what's actually happened is that 1.475 million credits have not been added as units. What you've actually got is items in here which should add up to the value of the ship. And so what I'm actually going to do is we're going to go across and sell that and see if we can actually recover. In fact, what I'm let's just get over here. So scrapping the ship gives you items to sell. So let's just get here. So we're going to get 99,000 for thermal panels, 30,000 for some cogs. We got 305,000 for high capacity compressors, and let's go down and find here. We got 796,000 for the subatomic regulators. We got some tank coolant and some reinforcing piping, and just going to sell that. We're up to 24,593, and if you bear with me, I'll just do a quick calculation. As far as I can tell, based on my quick calculation, is we've made about 48,000 credits on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to dwell on it too much. So the actual profit on scrapping the ship isn't that great, but of course more importantly we've got 2 modules here and 2 augmentations. So if I go back over to the ship, actually what we can do is Let's have a look at these augmentations. Hyperdrive module. Oops, I need it in the starship. What am I on about? I've got some space here. Okay, let's just over here, and of course this time what we're going to do is upgrade the ship. I'm not going to scrap it. That'd be embarrassing. Apply the augmentations. So we can augment this, and you can see we will now get a... Actually, I'm just going to leave that. Just want to check the price, just to give you an idea of how much money we're saving. So, to upgrade the ship, you can see here, to upgrade the storage is going to cost me 19 million. If I apply the augmentation, I think, actually let's do the technology one. And we could do 2 augmentations, but I think we're... That's interesting. Why won't it let me go back? Okay, let's just go back in again and upgrade the ship. It's almost like it's locking into the... And we'll just augment that. We've now increased the starship size. We've got an extra slot and an extra technology slot here. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to install the hyperdrive module. At the moment the hyperdrive range is 149.3. If we add this on here, wow, that's going to give me 100% warp cell efficiency and 196 light years. So I've now pushed the the hyperdrive range up to 440. I've got no fuel. Oh, and let's have a look at the what we got. What's this one here? Starship shield module. I think we could probably do with putting that in as well. I think I've got that space, so I haven't lost any space. And we've now got shield strength of 135.6. We got 2 there, so you can see these are just normal techs. So I think that was worth it. Of course, I am going to keep the laughing gnome, so I'm not throwing things away just for the sake. But I think this is where another important fact of where this change is a major game changer, because what it means is that when you see a ship now, if you see a really cool looking ship, especially something really fantastic exotic ship, or more importantly from my perspective, because only you follow this Let's Play will be aware that I'm always moaning about seeing really good ships that have got very, very small amounts of carry capacity. I can now, if I see a really cool ship, I can actually now select it, do it and build it up again. So that's going to be something that I'm really looking forward to doing. And of course, if you're really crazy, and if I ever restart this playthrough, I won't be restarting it in the short term, but if I ever start a new playthrough, I think I'd be tempted to keep the initial ship and see if I can upgrade it fully just for the sheer fun of it. And the other thing you also notice is there's been some changes to the space station here, because it's reversed this. So originally this was inside and the guy, so it looks like he's been given a terminal. Anyway, that's enough about ship upgrades. Let's just move on to something else which I can demonstrate whilst we're here. This is the fact they've now introduced a way that you can save your look. You can see I've now saved this look, and so and you can have up to 3 custom looks, which means you can flip between them as and when you want. So if you're really into a bit of role play, or you decide you want to change your look, I mean, that is one way to do it. So that's another change that will makes life a little bit easier. The other thing I will show you is if I can find the ship upgrades. Oh, got some encrypted data here, and I'm just gonna. You can see here the icons for the ship upgrades have been changed. I'm not going to buy any of these, but I just thought I wanted to show you this as well. Yeah, I think they changed it because they were a bit too similar to what some other techs were. Now we move on to the next big change of this update, and that is the ability to have multiple multi-tools. Oh, great. Do I really want a dinky little multi-tool like that? Yeah, come on, this is just for the funsies of it. I've got the cash for it, and we'll buy a cheap multi-tool. So you can see here what you get now is the option to compare and buy and exchange. So we're just going to buy one. And when you buy one, what you'll see is that that becomes your default multi-tool. But if you come into here and go across up to here, you'll see you can now change back to the multi-tool. As far as I know, that you can only have 3 multi-tools, and I've saw someone in the forums complaining about that, saying, well, you know, why only 3? But I'm going to be completely honest, I think I can't really see even the use for 3 multi-tools, let alone more, because I mean my instinct is to have a combat multi-tool, maybe a one for surveying and scanning with a certain amount of knockdown on it. And from a permadeath perspective, because of course the cannon tech, what is it? I can't remember what it's called now. It's a long time since I used it. So just come in here. The plasma cat launcher, which if any of you played, we're using the plasma launcher, is almost death in permadeath because it goes off almost by accident. So I could see a use for having, like, say, the current small tool that I just bought, putting the plasma launcher in there and then keeping it safe to against those few occasions when I may need it to, say, knock down the door of a space station. But at least I won't have it on the toolbar, so that I can do what I often did in my survival series, is kill myself by accident. So that's probably some of the biggest changes in this update, but there's still some more to come. And we're just going to come up here, and I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, I can't talk to the cartographer here because that's part of the main mission. I don't really want to do that in this video. So we come here, and if we go and talk to this cartographer, what they've done is they've changed this interface. Oh, wrong one. Oh, I got myself a free gift. I was a bit hasty there. Exchange map, purchase map. I think what they said is they've changed this. I haven't actually. Oh, great. Let's purchase one. Exchange maps. And that's it. Exchange maps here. So it's in the exchange maps one. They've changed it. What you can actually do now is choose what you actually want. So this thing, say this is a secure site of interest, a distress signal, an inhabited outpost, and an ancient artifact site. So where before you got something at random, now you can actually come in here and change something. And the one I bought, I get for that. And if you just go the other way, you just get a random artifact. So that's another change that's been introduced. To do the next one, we're going to have to go down to a base terminal, and I need to remember which one. If we go to the star farm, so here we are. We're on my star farm. What you'll see here is the storage vaults have now changed. They've got this bar across the front, which means that if you put in another one, so what's that? That's 3. I don't know if I've got the resources to make one. See if we can put 3 in. Just want to try this out just to see if this will work. What you'll see is now it auto connects across the front here. Ignore the blue bar that runs below it. That's the one that goes up to the power generator. So you can see this actually auto connects. What I will say is if you've got an existing Let's Play, you're going to have to visit all your bases or places where you've got storage vaults, because these will all be disconnected and the connection will just be hanging free. So you're going to have to redo all your connections for all your storage vaults. Now the next big thing is if I come in here, you will see that the number of storage slots has been increased from 5 to 20. The amount of capacity in each one hasn't changed, but so it's gone from a capacity of 5,000 to 20,000. More importantly, you can now actually rename these as well. So we can call this just call this star bulbs, which again I think is a really great quality of life change, because one of my kind of gripes for this game was the fact that you could never tell what was in the vaults, and color coding was okay, but it was not that brilliant. At least now you can actually name the vaults themselves and be able to see what you can actually do inside them. And you can see the bar there, and if I show you over here as well, there's like a blue bar, power bar, that goes all the way around the outside as well. And the next thing that's come in, and from my perspective which is a real lifesaver, is if we come in here, I look at the terrain manipulator now. If I come in here, we've got create, manipulate mode, flatten and restore. So if we go to flatten, what you need to do is just hold down and just drag. Now be aware that the flatten option does not raise the terrain, it just reduces it. So you can just come across like this, like that, and if I stop now, you will see that this is flat, but where the plane went over the edge, this level of ground was not raised. So if you want to flatten an area that goes down like this, you'd have to raise the terrain there before you actually do it. But more importantly now, what you can do is restore. What you do is get this lovely orangey colour, but what you can do now is just literally go through here over the orange areas and the game will restore. And for my efforts with terrain management in this game, this is going to be an absolute godsend, because I've made so many disasters with manipulating the terrain, but being able to do this is really great. It doesn't seem to consume the terrain fuel as well, so it looks like this might actually almost be free manipulation. So I'm doing quite a lot of change here, and of course you can change the size as well, make it a bit bigger if you want. Let's put this back for a moment. So again, if you're really into base building, that is a really major change, and I think it's going to serve its purpose whenever you go forward. Now the other thing, which I don't know if you noticed this, but the way they've actually changed the torch, so that whenever it gets dark, the torch comes on by default now. So that's going to help me, especially from the perspective of recording, the fact that things are going to be illuminated. The fact I might get the opposite now with a bit of flare. You can see the difference. The torch seems to be a bit brighter as well. Anyway, so that covers most of the stuff around the base. Now there is another change in here. You can see this terminal hangs down from above. In fact, it'll probably be easier just to demonstrate it. If we go into here now, and I'm just going to put the filter on, and if we go to the toxic farm, yeah, you can see it's dark, so the light's on. If I come up into the vault, you can see here where the storage vaults are broken. If I come into here now, and if I come up to here, you can see I can harvest all plants now in one go, just like that. So rather than going around like we used to do, tum, 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 you can come in here and just harvest the whole lot in one go. And I suppose while I'm here, I suppose I better, can I fix this? Probably the easiest way to fix this is, oh, thank you game. And if we take out that one and that one, so we've now got that there, and go across to tech, up, so we can find the industrial, and up, and probably the easiest way is to connect that up to there. Of course I'm going to need the connection back to there. You can see the vaults are now, oh, why is that not connected? Okay, so it's actually, oh, that's interesting. There's the cabling, wiring. So you've actually got to connect through those to work. Oh, And you can see for some strange reason this thinks it's not powered on. And what we'll do is just shove the mordite in there, just to be on the safe side. I don't have to carry it around with me. And I think what we're going to do is get out of here before I die. And right, I think what we're going to do now is just change the filter back to everything. We're going to go back to this system. Just kind of going through what I still need to cover of this update. What we're going to do now is just going to jump into the Laughing Gnome and drop a save because we've covered a lot of ground. And we're just going to jump into here and we're going to take off. You can see now one of the new changes to do with the ship interface. You've now got a space map in the ship and you can actually see what's around you like that, and the little squares normally mark other freighters, so it's saying that there's other freighters around, but I can't see any. But you can see the triangle represents what's behind you, so now you can actually see what ships, what is behind you, what isn't. You can also see the positions of the planets, which from my perspective is something that I've always wanted, because I've always found it annoying that you come into a system and then you can never seem to find all the planets. Orange diamond in front of us is actually the space station there, and if I summon in the, oops, there you see we've now got the diamond for that. If we bring in the freighter as well, you can see that the anomaly is behind. Now we've got some hostiles coming in. Oh great. First time I actually wanted to be attacked, but you can see in front now the red square which shows where the enemy is. So if I wanted to go after that bounty hunter now, you can actually see where the hostile ships are. And I actually did fight a combat where I was bounced by pirates, and being able to see where they are relative makes quite a big difference. Anyway, right, what I was going to do is go to the freighter first. I can find it. Where are you, freighter? Because I want to show you some some of the new freighter tech. I'm just going to get in here. What is this? Oh, this is it's not bad looking. I can see me spending a lot more time just looking at ships and seeing what I want now. I'm going to be very fussy about what I want. I've got a feeling this fighter's not going to survive much longer. Obviously you don't get the torch automatically when you're inside of a freighter. A bit better. Yeah, I'll be checking out all the fighters as when they come in. So we've got, it's like my mission is back and none of the ships are damaged. Okay, maybe I'll do that, but I want to stick on the main theme of this video. I come to this frigate research terminal. Now, I haven't actually demonstrated it, but I'll demonstrate it in a minute. See, there's some new tech now called matter beam. And it says here, device that modulates the standard freighter communication signals to enable interplanetary transport of matter as well as data. Freighters fitted as a device can send and receive products and substances to a user's exosuit over a long distance. Now, bear in mind that that is there, and if you're familiar with the game, up until this update, we could send stuff to the freighter anytime, but that's actually changed now. You're going to need this tech to be able to send stuff to the freighter and to retrieve it, and I'll demonstrate that a little bit later on. The other change they've also done is they've now introduced the green and blue star restrictions and red star restrictions for freighters. Now I don't know if that's going to work if you summon your freighter, whether if you haven't got a red star drive installed and you're in a red system and then you try to summon your freighter, whether it will actually come. So that's something that I've got to check out, and if any of you know, feel free to chuck in the comments. But Now for your freighter to be able to move between systems, it's going to need the necessary drive, and of course you've got the drive enhancements here as well. So you can see here 800, 300. So I think getting this, so if you're really serious about traveling to the center of the galaxy, maybe getting all these upgrades could be quite important. Although, to be honest, at the moment, I don't think I've got really all the slots for that. Now I have noticed one or two quirks due to this update. I mean, it hasn't really broken the save game, but I have noticed a few things that have been a little bit irritating while I was doing some test play. I haven't really come across any of them in so far in this video, but I have found that the game does seem to be a bit more tetchy about lining up with the entries to spaceports. The ship doesn't seem to be quite so how can you say, maneuverable. When I fought a space battle with a ship, it didn't seem to be as good, so I don't know whether some of the stats have been changed. Anyway, we're just going to get into the space anomaly. Do you see that little drift to the left as before it went in? And we're out now, and just to demonstrate what I was talking about, if I come to the exosuit, if I try and send this to the freighter, you can see it says freighter out of range. So the days of just chucking everything up into your freighter as you go around collecting stuff are over until you get that tech. So what we're going to do is come up through here. Now the other thing I've also noticed is that we've got a new community research mission here. It says gather data for the space anomaly. Space anomalies accumulated data research. And it's already at 43%, so either people have been very busy in the last couple of days, or whether this is something that's been resurrected. I mean, it just appeared in there. I mean, we could have a quick look at it. Galaxies. I mean, there's no special missions here. It just says go out and do something. Hazardous flora. I mean, that'd be a good mission. Get a warp hypercore. Anyway. And we're just going to look at the tech. Now I've got a list of the tech, but I'm not sure exactly which ones have done. We're going to start with the starship. So we fly together, research ship tech needs. Now what they have done is I think they've added this sublight amplifier. It says pulse engine augmentation, highly advanced upgrade for pulse engines, and it gives you more power. I'm not sure if the instability drive is new either. I can't quite remember whether that is, but we've now got an extra tech there. And here's the second tech that's been introduced. This is the emergency warp unit. What this actually does is that, say you're in a battle, or probably more from my perspective in Permadeath, if I get into a space battle and I accidentally shoot a friendly and then the sentinel ships turn up, you can, if you've got this installed, you can do an emergency warp, which will take you to a random system away from where you are currently located. But as it says there, warning, fast scramble systems may mean users are unable to plot a destination. Uncalculated light speeds prevent the damage to the unit, require frequent repairs. So if you use this, it's almost like a one-shot effect until you actually repair it. Again, if you're playing early in the game, especially in Permadeath, this could be a good safety option if you're in things are getting a bit hostile. Although 240 nanites and, well, I don't know, warp cell, gold, microprocessor, it's not that bad, I suppose. So yeah, that's another one of the new. So that's another new tech that's been introduced. Now in here, as far as I know, there's only one kind of small change here, and it's in the. I come through to back one. You can see they've now introduced triangles. A large triangle and a small triangle. I don't see anything else new there, but it's actually also applies to metals and concrete. I suppose I could unlock that, but I'd have to unlock it for the wood. Let's just go back one. And I've got a couple of buried tech. I think that's about enough. Of course, we're now going to move into looking at our suit upgrades. Now, the big change in here is there is now a personal refiner. which I'm going to unlock. See, new technology, personal refiner. And I'm just going to come up in here. Two upgrades. I can't see anything. And the second new technology to do with the exosuit is this airburst engine. And as you can see, it says highly effective compressors fitted around your jetpack exhaust take advantage of the wind flow generated by persistent falling, recycling some of the energy into your jetpack fuel. Now, I did watch a video by MZK, and he was testing this out, and he was saying that the recharge rate is very slow, and you don't get that much back even if you fall off a great height. So maybe it's something that we're going to need to test out, but I'm not totally convinced that this is going to be of great use, unless of course you're really into jumping off of very great heights. And I'm certainly not going to unlock that. There's also, seeing the translators on the end, I did see in the patch notes that they've done some work on the translation side of the game to try and improve it, to probably make it a bit more worthwhile to do. So that's the two techs that are now in the exosuit. I don't think there's any new multi-tool techs. Just have a quick check. Yeah, thank you. Let's search multi-tools. No, I can't see anything new in there. Because weapons terminal. What type of weapon are you? C-class messenger of thoughts. Compare. You're a 17 slot. Nah. I mean, if that had been a reasonable multi-tool, I'd have swapped it for the one I bought earlier on. As far as I know, there's going to be no changes to the exocraft tech. No, this all looks very much the same as before. Osmotic generator, Humboldt drive upgrade. I don't think that's anything new. Just to finish this video up, we'll see if we can install the personal refiner. I suppose it would make sense to put it up here. So let's see if we can install it. I don't know if I've got the resources for this. Yes, I have. Just put that in there. Oh, and one thing that has changed now, and I must admit I do appreciate this change. This is a quality of life thing. That if you move on to something now, you don't have to do the two-step process for moving things around now. The one thing that I do find slightly irritating that seems to have changed as well, if you come in here, once you used to click there, but now you seem to have to drag this way. So we've now built the personal refiner, and what you do is if you come in here and click this again, I can't remember who actually said this because I've watched quite a few videos in the last couple of hours. They said that you only need to put fuel in this once. I don't know if that's a bug, but it doesn't really make sense to me that you'd ever just charge this once. I think they were saying that what happens is the personal refiner pulls the fuel from your suit as long as you've got what, you know, so effectively what happens is that while this is running down, it's pulling the fuel from your suit, but that's something that probably needs testing. I've got a little bit of ferrite dust, so we'll just put that in there. I'm just going to click that off. You can see the animation on the back of the backpack, and just to show you, when you come over here, what you'll see, I don't know if you can see that, but it's probably not the best place to see it. You can see the steam coming out the back of the backpack. Cool. That's a pretty cool animation. Apologies, I'm not very good at third person in this game. It's I don't know. I've never been comfortable with it. I much prefer the first person. In fact, I'll just change back because it's just going to irritate me. And I think that's about it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you found it interesting. As I say, there are a lot more other fixes, changes. I mean, you could probably, if you wanted to go through every single one, you could make a whole about a 2-hour video on it, but some of them are really minor and I think it would very quickly get boring to go through them. So what I would say is, if you really want to know all the absolute detail, feel free to follow the link in the video description. And this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it interesting, and until next time, whatever you do, Enjoy your gaming.